It was a man-like figure with a round, red face, surrounded by a pointed, hood-like shape. Eugene Lemon referring to the Flatwoods monster of Flatwoods, West Virginia. Yeah, that's not a quote referring to the Majora's Mask aliens, referred to as they or them in the game. Very progressive, Reggie.
I feel just like a purple Pikmin.
That was a description of the Flatwoods monster of West Virginia. I can't find any definitive proof from an interview or anything like that, but many people point to this here cryptid of the Appalachian Mountains as a direct inspiration for the design of capital T, them, the invaders of Romani Ranch. Hello, my name is Salvo, as far as you know, and today I'd like to talk just a little bit about the weirdo world of Termina from the wonderful video game, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. So much of Termina is strange and unexplained. A lot of discussion on the World Wide Web is dedicated to unraveling these mysteries, or putting a finer point on them. But in this guy with a microphone and a video editing software's humble opinion, I think overanalyzing the mysteries of Majora's Mask will always be an ultimately fruitless endeavor. This is a game where you play through the same 3 days for hours and days of your own real life, but somehow certain things remain mysterious. And I think nothing encapsulates that mystery better than them. They are referred to obake, a type of ghost in Japanese. Obake in Japanese mythology are seen as shapeshifters, but these lads aren't shifting shapes so much as stealing steaks. As in cows. You'll likely play through multiple dungeons and other mysterious side stories before you ever have your close encounter with these strange dudes. But I remember being incredibly mystified by them. To even get to the ranch, you have to have gotten past Snowhead Temple and purchased yourself a Goron bomb. But you can only do that after you've gotten your license, which you have to go earn from the Goron bomb guy hiding in a cave near Snowhead. But once you've cleared all these little trials, you're able to blast away the rock blocking the path through Romani Ranch. And the vibes on Romani Ranch are so thick you could drown in them. There's a base layer of cozy ranch that's cluttered with the anxiousness of a world that's falling apart. Everything feels so open but exposed. Something about being in Romani Ranch makes you feel like you're being watched, and maybe you are, by them. Upon entering, you see that there are dead bushes scattered around the plains with a solitary path leading directly to the house and the barn. A heavy melancholy blankets the area like a blanket, much like the rest of the game. Littering the edges of the ranch sits a lonely man, keeping watch of his chickens, lamenting the fact that he'll never see them grow to full size. There's also the lady running a dog race gambling circuit who is, well, frankly, just kind of mean. And of course, around the house, at the center of the ranch, there's Romani and her sister, Cremia. Cremia gives the impression of a responsible older sister looking after the much younger and seemingly more innocent Romani in the absence of their father, who's deceased, and their mother, who is mysteriously never mentioned, as far as I know anyway. If you meet Romani for the first time before the invasion, she'll ask you to help her when they come, going so far as to set up a balloon course for you to practice shooting with your bow. She simultaneously takes this deeply seriously, but she's also having fun with it. She laughs. She calls you Grasshopper. Cremia, on the other hand, is much more focused on her responsibilities as essentially being a mother to Romani on top of running the ranch. She doesn't have time to entertain what she sees as Romani's wild imagination. I think the choice of making Cremia an older sister rather than straight up Romani's mom is meant to make Cremia more sympathetic to us as the audience. A mom ignoring her child's pleas for help with aliens, while still somewhat understandable, is much less excusable than an older sister who never expected to be put in the role of caretaker of a child. And yet, nevertheless, the night arrives. If you're standing in the ranch at 2:30 a.m. on the night of the first day, you see them make their move. A spot of light that could originally be mistaken for a star grows closer as it tilts and moves unnaturally against the night sky. Interestingly enough, if you look at the sky above Romani Ranch on the night of the first day, you'll see a red star that is no longer there on subsequent nights after they invade. At the same time, they begin to appear all around the fields of the ranch with their gaze fixed directly on the barn. I reckon they want them cows. In an interview with Justin Haywald from February 13th, 2015, that is enshrined in an article on GameSpot.com, series director Eiji Aonuma said, "The reason we used this at the time was because Japan was experiencing something of a UFO boom, and it even went so far as for shows on TV to cover it and explain to people what cattle mutilation was. So even to see words as scary as cattle mutilation on TV and the idea of UFOs abducting people led to this whole idea of Earth being invaded by aliens becoming rather popular. I thought it would be really interesting and scary to use in the game. That's how we decided to go with that. In other words, UFOs were all the rage, and nothing spooks humans to our very bones like aliens unrelentingly coming in waves for mysterious reasons. Why do you want our cows, you strange floating creature?" And yet still, they continued, very rudely ignoring my question of why. If they reach the barn, you don't get a game over. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this quest is fully optional. As far as quest rewards go, you get an empty bottle for your troubles. But if you let those foul, otherworldly creatures get their crab claw clutches on that barn, you are lower than scum. Because if they succeed, they don't just get the cows. They get Romani, the happy-go-lucky girl who nicknamed you immediately. How can you not feel terrible and loathsome for allowing an innocent little girl who laughed and called you grasshopper the moment she first met you to be abducted? If she's abducted, you won't see Romani until the next day. A shell of her once bubbly self. Her smile, gone. Her enthusiasm, gone. She seems lost. She doesn't know who you are, and she's holding her head, trying to shake off some unseeable specter haunting her thoughts. And maybe just as tragic as Crimea, who's absolutely crushed at not only the loss of their livelihood, but more importantly the state of her sister's health. She seems to blame herself for not listening to Romani's warning. It leads to more questions for me, like, has this happened before? Seemingly it has, because Romani knows about them. I don't know why she would know about it if it hadn't occurred previously, but there again, why doesn't Crimea know about it? Did they get her last time, and is that why her memory seems to be wiped of any knowledge of capital T them? See, now I said at the beginning of this video that searching for answers behind the mysteries is pointless, but here I am searching for answers in the mystery, so I guess I'm what you call a hypocrite. Of course, if you do stop the invasion, Romani thanks you for your assistance and gives you a bottle of milk, which is super useful. Empty bottles are basically the equivalent of whatever the rarest gemstone is in Zelda. You also unlock a follow-up side quest where you assist Crimea in taking milk into town. In that side quest, you have to fight off these masked bandits that definitely are not the Gorman brothers. They look and sound nothing like them, I don't care what you say. Successfully escorting her into town unlocks the milk bar mask for you, which then allows you to go into the milk bar, in which there's more side quests. There's so many lovely stories in this game that further pin down the intricate storytelling and world building in Termina. But if I start talking about all those, this will be like a 30-minute video, because, I'll start talking about something else, and then there will be. Maybe I'll make more videos about individual stories within Termina, that we'll see. Ultimately, what I want to get across is that the mystery and suspense of Termina defines Majora's Mask. At the same time, there's so few games where you can directly see the consequences of your actions over and over again. And more to that, you can see what happens both ways. You can directly cause events that transpire. If you don't stop those aliens, Romani's health and trauma is, kind of your fault. At least I think that's how the designers wanted you to feel. And the game is just so dense with these little intertwining stories. It makes choices much heavier when you have to handle different things on the first day, knowing full well that whatever actions you choose will lead to suffering elsewhere in Termina, and knowing you'll see those consequences later on. By the same token, it makes it so much more triumphant when you're able to help someone knowing what happens if you don't. There's mystery to the cause of the events, but their effects are a known quantity. It's kind of like in real life. It doesn't necessarily matter what the origin of suffering is, as long as we have courage to help each other and to help ourselves.